All right, peace, power, and love is always in greeting. Um, Coming at y'all, the big picture, another little topic I want to drop um, this morning. Hope y'all are appreciating the content. I say I'm trying to keep it coming. Got a lot more that I'm working on. Want to try to bring to the forefront and just put on our minds, keep it on our minds. Um, like I say, I appreciate y'all. I'm just sitting thinking, I'm so ready to be able to interact, and like I say, leave your comments and whatnot, because I do check comments. Just ready to really be able to converse and talk back and forth, as opposed to just doing these lives videos and uploading them. But I'm enjoying it nonetheless. Pretty much um, getting used to it. Want to ask you, if you're liking the content, share it to a friend, that may like it. Like, subscribe, share, as everybody always says. I'm trying to get used to saying that, and that's something that I'm really um, not used to having to do, being that I come from, just a radio, blog talk radio platform. But um, yes, mash up the likes. If you're liking the content, share it with a friend that you think may like it. And like I say, get involved, interact, because I do read the comments and I'm really ready to interact with my people. That's my reason for doing this, is just to try to, bring us closer together. Because right now, you know, if there has ever been a time, now is the time for us to understand that, we truly need each other out here. And there is really a virus that we have been suffering from, and nobody has, ever tried to find the cure for that. And before I go off into my topic, also let me um, thank my man Patrick Wilson, as always. He's the owner of the activatemedia.org, where they replay my content on Friday nights at 9. So I appreciate him giving me an opportunity to be able to, just interact with the people and get my voice heard, and hopefully people will catch on to um, the things that we're really needing, and especially us as melanated people. There are a lot of things that we unfortunately still need to catch up on, but I appreciate the opportunity that he's given me. He's out of Boston, Massachusetts. Cool brother. Met him. I'd done a live on my on the Panther page, and we spoke after a live I done. He messaged me, and I linked up with him and landed that spot. And like I say, I'm very appreciative of that as well. Uh, these are things that I do. You don't have to get paid. When you doing what you love, there is really no payment required. The payment will come just by, you know, listening and grasping the message, and really putting it to work, you know, uh, to our advantage, the people's advantage, for a change, as opposed to this system always, um, capitalizing even on its own. But that's another subject. Um, I really wanted to talk about the virus that we've been suffering from over the last 400. plus years now. And that virus that I'm talking about, that nobody can, everybody's worried about COVID and the flu virus, but nobody's worried about um the fix for the virus of racism, white supremacy. Nobody is worried about that virus. Who has the vaccine for that virus? Are they even interested in fixing it? But that virus of, racism, white supremacy has been plaguing America for decades upon centuries. And it is, to me, it is ironic that, everything that this country doesn't like, it will fix. Anything that this country deems a threat, it will fix. But white supremacy is a threat. Racism has always been a threat. And now it has flooded over into our police departments. We have this virus of racism, white supremacy in policing. And I was reading earlier where, uh, Ain't Shit Joe and N. Hyden Harris uh, donated so much money to to HBCUs. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a beautiful thing, but on the other hand, what has Biden and Harris done about racism, white supremacy? And see, don't get it twisted. You all must remember that the Democrats are the ones that ushered in the KKK, and the Democrats were the ones that were pushing against us. The Democrats are responsible for a lot of atrocities that have happened to us as melanated people, and it won't stop. And Biden and Harris, now it's election time again. So they trying to buy us out. And like I say, I read it. I'm not, I feel about that just like I feel about him signing that outdated anti-lynching bill. And like I said on my podcast in the past, if you really read that legislation, that can even be harmful to one of us because it's so outdated. And the way it is worded and mandated, yeah, even we could get in trouble under that particular legislation. Um, the George Floyd Policing Act, the one that they consistently have ignored, is really what we need. That is something that has up to date mandates and stipulations, but they won't pass it, nor will they end the qualified immunity for these police. And see what that would do. The qualified immunity would make police more accountable for their actions. It wouldn't be just they kill us or they do whatever they do, they violate us and just get away with it. You know, taking that, and I'm gonna say this, and I've said this on all my podcasts, and I'm going to say this here as well on YouTube. I drove trucks for 22 years, and we're held at a very high standard, even in our personal vehicles. Ask any CDL driver; he'll tell you, so that you know won't don't just think I'm grabbing this out of the air, but we're held at a high standard. And so even when we're in our personal vehicles, we're ticketed higher as opposed to other drivers because of our professional title as a CDL driver. 22 years, uh, or 23 now. But I mean, being police, upholding the law, you should be held at a much higher standard than just regular citizens. Not saying that citizens should not uphold the law, but what I'm saying is when police break the law, they should be held at a much higher standard and punishment, because that's the way it is in my profession. Because I'm a CDL driver, yeah, I'm held at a higher uh, level of responsibility on the road. And when I violate in my personal vehicle or in a truck, I'm ticketed higher because of my professional title. Now, with that being said, um, I feel that police should definitely be held at higher standards when it comes to the law. And we see time and time and time again where they are violating people's rights, killing people, unaliving people, uh, and there are no consequences for their actions. So this is what qualified immunity would bring into play: more personal accountability. And that's what needs to happen with these police. They are not above the law. Just like me, I'm not above the law on the road. They shouldn't be above the law, period. You know, nobody is above the law, including them. But we have these renegade race soldiers running around now, uh, doing a great job at what they do. And really pay attention, because in most interactions that happen with us, they're in 90% of the times end up in physical police brutality or murder. And I pulled that 90% out of the air. I did not look that up. I'll have to really look at that and see what the percentage is. But, you know, uh, I'll say this, to the officer who lost his life, I'm not an ass. And yeah, condolences to his family. But when you put on that blue suit, you have to really understand what you're getting yourself into. And most of them do, and that's why they behave in the fashion that they behave in, because they know once they put that uniform on, they're considered uh, above the law. And it's not anything that they're policing in their policing that they're doing that is constitutionally uh, acceptable. Um, I think about all the situations that have happened. I talked about one that happened right here in Texas, in Duncanville. You know, uh, when a young man jogging, 21 years old, and some Karen, sees him. He jogs into an alley behind the houses, out of sight, by some bushes, and some Karen calls in on him. The police get there, and he runs. I mean, and I'm gonna say this because I've heard police ask this stupid question, and I've heard several people ask this stupid question: why did you run? And I'll just say this: it's a black thing. Not many would understand why running would be the first instinct as a black male. Hell, as a black woman, for that matter, as a black child or a black elder, even. Uh, they catch the young man, tackle him, rough him up, broke his spine in 3 places. Um, and I haven't went back and looked at the case. Haven't heard anything else, and now it'll probably die down. It did get some news play here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, local news. But there are so many incidents like that happen in within inner cities that don't we don't hear about nationally. Keandre Green was this young man's name, um, and now unfortunately at 21 he probably won't be able to do what he loves. He said he liked to get out and jog every morning. Um, so that's probably never going to be part of his morning routine again. Having his spine broken in 3 places simply for running down, like in my house. I have a back alley behind my house, and he ducked off in some bushes. How many times have we as men, been outside, wasn't near a restroom, and we find a bush or a tree, and we hide ourselves to the best of our ability to not be exposed and other people seeing us? Nobody in their right mind is going to just whip it out and pee. I don't know any of my friends that's going to do that and want somebody watching them while they do it. Uh, Heck, I've been on probation before, and you go in there and that man standing right there beside you watching you piss. It's hard to piss when somebody watching you. So yeah, you try to get as much privacy as you can, and like I say, not be offensive to anyone that may drive by, pass by, whatnot. But he's ducked off in a whole alley, behind some bushes. But these police see him, young black male, 21. He runs. And like I say, the reason we run is because look at what's happening to us. Look at how, I see so many privileged people talk about, well, why didn't he just comply? And how many times have we watched black men or women that have complied and still get beat or killed? You know, uh, the policing in this country is somewhat like Nazi Germany was. And we all know the origin of policing comes from slave catchers. And so they're actually out here now doing what they were originally created to do. They're still doing it in 2023. And like I say, there's no discrimination. Young, old, man, woman, child, elderly. We all heard about the situation that happened with the young woman, Takia Young, you know, and they really tried to amp it up as if she tried to run over, accelerate and run over a policeman. And if you haven't watched the video, I saw it once, and that's all I want to see it. Um, just look at it. Takia Young. Uh, think she was 24, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. It's been a couple of weeks since I. But anyway, and I, reading all these cases and keeping up with all this madness, you sometimes forget little things. But I think she was 24, early 20s, um, and had been accused of shoplifting. And I did see another tape of them in the store. And okay, she was shoplifting, but that don't mean kill her. And not only did they kill her, she was pregnant. She was with child, little girl, and the baby didn't survive either. So this is so similar to when, there's I can't remember her name, and it's been years ago when I read this, but there was a black lady. They had accused her husband of something and locked him up, and she went down there and told them that, y'all know he didn't do this. Why don't y'all let my husband go? Blah blah. Okay, back then that was considered uppity. So, long story short, they lynched her husband and lynched her, and she was pregnant, cut the baby out of her stomach, and stomped the baby's head. Um, this is just true life. And I can see why they work so hard to try to keep this out of history, try to keep their true nature hidden from the world. But the world is now seeing exactly what America is and exactly what America isn't. And back to, this young lady shot the cop. I mean, you have to really watch the video because the cop puts himself in front of the car and she's trying to turn the car. You can see to the right to get away from them. Uh, it did not warrant pulling out his gun, firing a shot through the windshield, hitting her in the chest, killing her and her unborn daughter. Nothing has changed but the times. They still do the same thing that they've been doing to us. They are just doing it now in a means that will possibly allow them to get away with it. They're not able to just blatantly lynch us the way they used to, but they're still lynching us the way they used to. Um, there's a case that I just found out about, and this one happened back in early August. Uh, like I say, they don't care. Young, old, man, woman, child, elderly, baby, unborn babies. Don't matter. Uh, and condolences to her family um, as well, because that was so unnecessary. And then in so many of these cases where they're killing our kids, Jaheim McMillan, another case out of Mississippi. Then a couple of few weeks after that, another case in Mississippi where they find parts of this young black man scattered. So they don't mind killing us. But the case in Georgia that happened in Georgia early August, Johnny Hallman, uh, Hollman, Johnny Hallman, and I saw his daughter. I ran across a clip of his daughter speaking about this situation, and it really made my blood boil. All of these senseless killings makes my blood boil, literally. Um, Mr. Johnny Hallman, 62 years old. There had been a traffic accident. Someone had ran into him, and he called the police for help. And when the police get there, and see, this is another thing that these police do to us as black men and black women, and even our children, they talk down to us. There's never a conversation when they're dealing with us. Their job with us is to escalate it to confrontation, so then they can take the actions that they truly want to take. And see, this is the mentality of that racist mindset. And you can tell that there are a lot of these white nationalists and KKK members within these police departments, simply by the way they treat us in simple situations like with Mr. Hallman. And I heard his daughter telling the story. There was a traffic accident. Someone had hit him and uh, drove off. He had pulled over, called the police. The police get there and you know escalate the situation with a 62-year-old man, and it was a 23-year-old cop. Can't remember his name, recall his name at the moment, but the cop that showed up on the scene, 23 years old, and they said he was talking. The daughter said she was actually on the phone with him for a moment, um, but said the cop was talking real grimy to this elder. Maybe not his elder, but an elder nonetheless. But in the mind of racism, white supremacy, that doesn't matter. They don't see that as something to respect. All they see is the NIGGA in you at that moment. Young, old, man, woman, elderly, child, babies. Don't matter. They see this first, unfortunately, without even knowing what's here and what's in here. And Mr. Hallman, from what after I ran across that one video, I watched another one, and grandfather, 20 some odd uh, grandchildren, uh, very active in the community, within his church. Uh, Said he donated a lot, interacted a lot. People knew him, the community loved him. Nothing but good things to say about this man. But this rogue cop that shows up on the scene escalates it and then tases Mr. Hallman repeatedly. Um, and just to hear his daughter tell that story really made my blood boil as well. Just, because it's senseless the things that we allow to continue to happen to us. We see the pattern. We see that they don't mind unaliving us. And this system of racism, white supremacy has always allowed it, even back then. And there's still laws on the books from back then. See, the system hadn't changed, and the system will never change to accommodate the people fully. That is something that we have to rely upon each other to do. And then, not only that, let me say condolences to Mr. Hallman's family as well. You know, large family. He was the patriarch. You know, um, just senseless. And I be thinking like, dang, I'm just a few years from 62 and they gonna still be looking at me the same way they looked at Mr. Hallman. I don't give a damn that he's an old black man. He's gonna do what I say do, how I say do it. And that's the way these cops interact with us for the most part. They are not as conversational with us, they're more confrontational with us. And we have saw it. We've been saying it for years, but we saw it now, and the world has saw it now over and over and over and over and over again. Now, with that many over agains, how many times are we going to keep losing our elders, losing our young sisters and brothers, our babies? Because right now we're losing, and we're losing them. And without action, either any one of us could be next. Without action, this could happen to anyone, because I'm sure that Miss Young's family, that Mr. Green's family, and Mr. Hallman's family never thought that this would happen. Seeing it happen, watching it happen here, there, and everywhere, but never thinking that this could happen to me. And I always keep that thought in the back of my head. And what we don't correct will continue to happen. And any one of us could be next. Let that sink. Let that sink. Any one of us could be next at the hands of one of these rogue race soldiers if we don't take and make a plan of action. And it's time for us to bring the unity back to our communities where we take care of each other. I watched videos on these brothers up in Detroit, Michigan, my birth state. Uh, New Era Detroit and New Era Cleveland, and they've got them popping up all over now. You know, where they are actively policing their own communities. And I've said that several times. That's what we need to do. Start policing our own communities and keeping our own people, men, women, children, and babies and elderly safe. Because we can't police the police. They're over weaponized, they're never held accountable, and Biden and Harris are in support of what they're doing. I could care less about them donating that money to the HBCUs. Honestly, whoop-de-doo, that dollar about to die. They not doing nothing for us, y'all. Nothing. Nothing that we can really use. You know, nothing that's really beneficial to us as a collective whole. Yeah, they'll give a few dollars here, give a few dollars there. Okay, what are we getting though, collectively as a whole? Because we always end up getting the same thing, no matter who's in that White House. And anytime there's a Democrat in that White House, that's because the majority of melanated people came out and voted for him. Just like Biden and Harris, and just like uh, Barack Obama. But pay attention, nobody's administration, and I'm gonna be honest, because Trump's administration did a little more for uh, black people than these so-called Democrats that's supposed to have our back. Like, didn't Joe Biden say that with his lying ass? Ain't that what he said? Y'all help me get her. I got your back. And now they done start popping up because, yeah, they know it's time to vote again. Kamala Harris, if you didn't know, I'm about to tell you, done had a big old party at her house, hip hop 50 party at her house with all them boule gatekeeper Negroes. Yeah, she ain't worried about us. Joe Biden ain't worried about us. Some of us ain't worried about us. We need to get worried about us. And that's why I always say we need to worry about us first and stop letting people shame us out of doing what we need to be doing for our children's sake, for our grandchildren's sake, for those who are even not yet here because they coming, and we got to try to make things right for them. And breaking up this old corrupt racist police system and this virus of racism, white supremacy should be priority number one, because that's the biggest opposition that we have is this white supremacist system and these race soldiers out here killing us. And like I was saying about the policeman that got shot, you know, okay, that's one officer compared to how many black people that have died at the hands of uh, police. And, um, you know, it don't even look like it was, you know, they're gonna always make the narrative what they need the narrative to be. And pay attention to that too real close. Things that are said and how they are said. Because those little things matter too. But we need to get back to us. We need to get back to our culture. We need to stand up and really start making more noise about our treatment, our survival is at stake. And if we don't take that serious, ain't nobody else going to, because they know who's coming to work with us right now. Because I don't see nobody in no hurry. Hey, let's go help them black people. They getting done wrong. Ain't nobody never really, it's been few, but ain't nobody jumping and doing that now. Nobody's trying to do the right thing. And these administrations and these governments are definitely not about doing the right thing. That's for sure. That's something you can take to the bank. All you got to do is open your eyes every day that you blessed to have your eyes and see and pay attention to what they're doing to us and how they're now categorizing people. And it's going to get more and more harsh in that arena. And that's why I say it's really time for us to build something that we can control and own, and stop worrying about this system and what this system is doing, because this system is headed downhill fast, butt naked. Yeah. So it's time for us to start our, like always, it's time for us to create our own current, our own flow, and start doing things that are going to be beneficial to us. Let's use us for our own benefit instead of letting others use us for theirs. The simple things that we can do that will truly change our condition. But we are the vaccine for racism, white supremacy, and these race soldiers. We, the people, are the vaccine. And there's more power in the people than they are people in power. There's more power in the people than there are people in power. Keep saying that till it makes sense to you. That's what we got to get on. I'm just saying. It's about survival and doing what's right and keeping the world turning. Because what they're trying to do is bring it to an end fast. Pay attention. Just pay attention. That's all I got. That's all I got. I just wanted to get that off of my chest. Like I say, it's really time that we correct what's wrong, period. And that is definitely part of the problem. Problem one, two, and three: racism, white supremacy, these race soldiers. And we got the power. We got the power. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope y'all enjoy. Like I say, I get on here because I want you to feel me up and through here. This is where it got to come from. It start vibrating in you. Let it vibrate. Let it travel. Let it marinate. You know, let it do all that it's supposed to do. Just receive it. Main thing, receive it. But I'm gonna get off of here. I love y'all. Why do it? Um, like I said, if you're liking the content, Like, share, subscribe. Much more to come. A lot of topics I want to try to cover, and then once I can get things really going in the direction I would like, bring on some guests and that kind of thing from time to time as well. Um, I just love interacting. I love my people. I love me. I got to love you, my brother, my sister. You know, I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper as well. That's what we all supposed to do. It's what we all supposed to be. You know, we hate it enough. Why can't we love each other the right way? Think about that. Like I said, if you're liking the content, like, share, subscribe. I enjoy bringing it uh, to my activatemedia.org family. Hope you enjoying the messages as well. Um, I'm gonna get off of here. Like I always say in closing, uh, let's plan, let's organize, let's unify, because we all have a key right here and right here. I'm out. Peace, power, love.